Hi guys, welcome to Reality with T. I hope everyone is well. This is a review of Tamar's show, Get Your Life, on the We channel. This will be a review of episodes 1 and 2. So, um, you know, I remember, so I used to watch the Braxtons, okay? So I know I have the background on Tamar. I know recently on the Braxtons, her and her sisters had a big falling out. There was a lot of drama in the family. Usually Tamar is the dramatic one. So I'm guessing that she is doing this show to kind of show, my life and who I am and my career is more than just the drama. Like I want to show people that I can do it on my own, the whole thing. So it begins with her meeting with Mona Scott King. Is that her name? Mona Scott Young? Either way, the one who created Love and Hip Hop, New York, Miami, all that stuff. Basically, Ratchet. She's the queen of Ratchet TV. So already off jump, I know that she is known for being the person to put your dignity, everything that you have on the line in order to have a good storyline, in order to get money, because it's gonna generate a lot of drama and a lot of viewership on the show. So I'm thinking, like, why, if she wanted to do an empowering show and show her self, being able to do this on her own, why would she go to Mona Scott Young or King? I don't know her last name. Because I feel like Mona will sell you down the road to the devil. You know what I mean? And to me, and so Mona's talking to her about, like, when it gets hard, don't run, because as we know, Tamar runs away when it gets hard. Even with her sisters, even in conversation, if she gets uncomfortable, she doesn't want to finish something, she'll just get up and leave. So, they start off the conversation talking about Vince being her husbander, and that was what happened with them. There was no breaks. There were work issues, they would bring it to the bedroom. The magic was lost. He ended up being jealous. She never got to work with any other producers. I guess, she always just say he was kind of controlling. So now she's saying that she's so shy. She doesn't want to go to the studio by herself. In the past, she's been dependent on her sisters, and at the time, Vince, her husband, and she's never really had to do it on her own. So this is her time to show people she's going to step out and have to do it on her own. She talks about how at one point she lost her label. I guess she lost her label. She lost her home. She lost everything. Remember, she was in that big old mansion in Ohio on top of the hill with Vince, right? She was living the life. She lost her family. I guess she's referring to her sister. She lost her husband. But she assures her that she will not quit on the show. She won't walk out, and that this is a partnership. They're doing this together, right? So, and let me just stop, because I put down a note, like, her hair looks good. You know what I mean? I was looking at some of the hairstyle she has, and I'm like, I wasn't really into that bald look. With this short haircut style she has, she's doing it. She looked beautiful. But either way, they start off, and then you see David, her boyfriend, come in. He's talking to the cameras. He's talking about why he's doing this, and already he's like sending me the wrong way, because the way he answered the questions, like, why am I doing this? Like, it's almost like he was ready made for TV type of thing. The way he's answering these questions, like he wanted to be a reality star. So he says he's doing it because I'm a big part of her life. The fact that he is saying it that way, like, I'm a big part of her life. I don't know. I can't put it into words in this moment, but I don't like it. Okay. So, they have Taco Tuesday at the house, where basically, I guess they're serving all of the production staff, all of her entourage, everybody that she always has around her. And then David makes the announcement to the cast and crew, this is, we're embarking on this journey, and, thanks for doing this with us, the whole thing. And my thing is, this was her show. Why is he the one thanking all of the producers and workers and everybody? I think he's way too involved. When I see something like this, where it's like, I want to do it on my own, and then I see him kind of running the show, and she's kind of behind the scenes, it just makes me do a double take, because I just don't like that he's so in her business. If you're in finance, be in finance. You know nothing about the music industry, right? So why are you even involved in this work? You said you didn't want to be a reality star. Like, I remember Vince saying from the beginning he never wanted to be on a reality show, and guess what? He said he did it for Tamar, but since then we haven't even seen Vince, like, in the streets, nowhere. We know he lost weight, but it's very far in between that we see pictures of him. He has not been on a show since, and we knew he was uncomfortable being on the show when he was on it. So this guy just seems like a little too ready for me. So she's also meeting with a coach named Goalie, who's going to do dream work with her. She's a creative coach, and she is there to help her reach her highest potential. So what she does is they're going to talk about, Tamar has dreams at night and she writes them down. Then I guess the next day they'll talk about them, interpret them, and see what messages, what unconscious or beneath the conscious messages are being told to her in her dreams. So part of this is that she asked her to abstain from sex, drinking, or smoking for the next 40 days, and no technology, right? For the next 40 days. And, basically because she just wants her dreams to be pure. She doesn't want to have the process clouded or infiltrated by any outside, influences, which makes sense. So, she starts talking to Goldie. I think it was Goldie she was telling that this is her first time recording without Vince. She can't sing in front of people. She has anxiety, pressure of failure. I understand the pressure of failure. I understand anxiety. I don't understand the whole thing now where you're having problems singing in front of people, because when I used to see her on the show, that's all she ever wanted to do. Her whole thing always was she wanted to be famous like Tony. She thought that all of this fanfare should be about her, not just on Tony. I would see her, she would make up songs in public with the girls. They would be running around singing. I mean, I guess it was with her sisters were there. I don't know. She would be, whenever she got on stage, she would try to steal the show. She loved performing. So this whole thing, I don't know when this happened, and all of a sudden she's so, enclosed that she can't sing in front of people. I don't know when that happened, because I didn't see that person or that side of Tamar on all of those episodes of the Braxtons, because to me, she was so performative. She was overly dramatic and performative in order to get attention from everybody around her. So I don't know. She basically, they show her, to me, I see somebody who is very anxious and also very distracted, trying to distract herself with other things instead of sitting down and focusing. I noticed that she has a lot of people around her all the time. And if you notice, her friend group changes very frequently. If you go back to when she had her own show with Tamar and Vince, there was a group of hairstylists, stylists that traveled with her everywhere, but it's always a different group of friends. And, to me, it's like, what is going on there? I know before was an issue where they were saying Vince wasn't paying some of the folks that worked for them. And then she fell out with a lot of people. I know she's a lot of drama and stuff like that, but it's interesting when you're her age, about 43, and every few months your entire friend group is changing. I also noticed that you always have a whole bunch of people around you. Like, she's never alone. You never get to, so, I mean, the issue with that is that you always hear other people's opinions. You know what I mean? Everybody has an opinion on almost everything you do. Everybody is there to pick up where you slack up. Everybody is there to, when she says she doesn't want to be dependent on sisters and Vince and everything, to me, you're still in a codependent relationship with all these people that you have around you and your boyfriend, David. And I say that because they had this really big producer come. I forgot his name, TJ or something like that. And she met with him, and she's going through this whole thing, where she's afraid to sing in the studio. And to me, it was getting annoying because I'm like, you're wasting his time. This is, you should be thankful that this producer wants to work with you. Like, you're not Tony, you know what I mean? And so she couldn't sing this whole thing. So he got to the point where he even came to her house, set up studio in the house. He brought his technicians and everybody. And she just kind of starts like running around, saying she lost her voice. She has to call David. And to me, that was very shocking because it's like, what is David going to do? He's not there. But she had to call David and basically tell him about how she was feeling. And he kind of talked to her. I mean, it was a positive conversation, but it's like talk her through being able to sing. But my thing is like, it just the whole thing kind of made me sad because it's like, I don't remember seeing this dependent Tamar. I do remember her in the studio working with LaShawn, you know what I mean? And even though she was annoying, stopping and the drama and the this and that, they would work with her. But I just don't remember her being so dependent on everyone else. But maybe that was because, he was safe because he was Vince's friend, Vince approved of him, so he's safe. This is our friend group, I also felt like, okay, I lost my train of thought. I'll get back to it. So basically, she also has a conversation with David in this episode where she talks about Goldie saying, they can't have sex for 45 days. And David says, well, that's not going to happen. He questions the method of this dream work. He doesn't believe in it. And she, and her friends told her. And then she said to him later, like, well, this is important to me. Like, what are you upset about? First of all, the whole thing is that you're a Christian. but you don't want her to do dream work because you think that's devil's work, but at the same time you're having premarital sex and upset about not having premarital sex for 45 days. So it's a contradiction there. Okay. um she talks about not having contact with her family, and I know that bothers her because she was really close. She was close to Tony and Trina, I think, closest to some more than others, and it was on and off, but they were a pretty close family. So it's really weird to see her like really just not in contact with any of them, and I know that that is also eating at her. I think that this whole show, I think that Tamar, number one, needs to do a show like this because she needs consistent income, because her music career is not consistent. She's an amazing talent, but she is not the professional that Tony is. Tony, I understand why when they picked who was going to get the deal when they were younger, why they picked Tony, because she is the professional. She is the one she's the star of the family. She is, you know what I mean? Though Tamar can sing, I even think sometimes Tamar's range is even wider than Tony's. Tamar doesn't have the professionalism, and she's a lot to work with, and I can see why a lot of people don't stick around her, because she's a lot. You know what I mean? She's draining, and that's how I felt after watching the first and second episode. She's just tiring and draining, and I'm not even sitting there with her. You know what I mean? So she finally they came back. Yeah, she did the studio time, and she talked about losing her voice, but she ended up singing and everybody liked it, but then she's disappointed in it. So it's just like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, you did a good job, everybody's praising you, but she's still, she's in that perfectionist mode. She has anxiety about it. And she talks about feeling choked for 4 or 5 years, and talks about in her throat feeling like she is unable to produce, it's just like, I guess it's just nerves like that's choking her. And also I think that has to do with the weight of the divorce, the loss of a lifestyle, because remember, she was living lavish, and I think that she misses that lifestyle. I don't know what type of apartment or home or she's in right now, but it's a huge difference from where she was. I think she misses being in that relationship. The power that Vince had, the money that Vince had, where she is now is nowhere near where that was. So I think that this whole show is premature. I really think she did it too quickly because she has way too much going on. You know what I mean? A lot in the media, a lot of loss, a lot of disconnection. And I think that what we're seeing now just feels uncomfortable to me. Okay. I also noticed that Miracle is with her. Maybe Miracle was Logan's dog, because I just remember Vince being very, very close to Miracle, and Tamar couldn't stand the dog. So it's interesting that she kept the dog. But that's off the subject. Either way, she had a dream. She talked about Tyler Perry being in the dream, and she was dating him, and Goldie connected that to being a man of power, which he is, a power, and he's a billionaire. So, you know what I mean? Of course, she would put herself with a man in power that has all this money. That's where she wants to be. And basically, after interpreting the dream, they found that maybe she's resistant to people helping her, and because she's constantly trying to prove that she doesn't need help. And so at some point, there was an angel in the dream that was sent to help, and she didn't listen to them, and so she crashed the car, and that was a breakthrough moment for her. And she tried to take a break from filming, and she was crying in the bathroom, and I think that was like when she had her first breakthrough. Okay. Now, the second episode. So in the second episode, we see Mona come over in the beginning, and she discusses the breakthrough that she had. She asked for a tour of the condo, and she's like, "Oh, it's nicely decorated, the whole thing." But people are forgetting what Tamar had and where she came from. I mean, she had like I don't know how many $1 million mansion, all this. And I mean, as she bragged about it, she loved it. And then to go to this, what to her would be like a smaller setting. And then I don't know if anybody else noticed, but why are the lights always so dim? Between her house and David's house, it just has like a weird, like a beige color. Like the lighting just seems so dim. And to me, I would think that like, I don't know, I can't live like that because I like to have bright lights on and stuff. I don't know, it just makes me feel like down and tired, but maybe I'm reading too much into it, or maybe that is affecting her mood and what's going on with her. I don't know. Either way, she talks to Mona about wanting to be engaged soon. She says she wants to be engaged, not married. She wants to know that you're ready to be married, but she doesn't want to go back to just being somebody's wife. So Mona asked about Vince and David's relationship, and she said it's not good. The issue is that I guess she's trying to allude to the fact that maybe Vince may be jealous because Logan is crazy about David. I can see that. Everybody always says that, you know, you have to be mature. Oh, the person has two fathers to love them, blah, 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 blah. I understand it. I'm not separated from the father of my children. We're still together. But I always told him, if we ever have to separate, God forbid, I don't want my kids calling nobody else mommy. They can have a great relationship and everything, but I'm their mother. All the stuff I'm doing for them now, I have a little young kids now. Ain't nobody gonna come in and the way that David came in so quickly after their separation, and then, you know, all of a sudden I'm supposed to step back. No, it's not happening. So I can understand it, and especially since David is mad shady, and Vince probably knows it. So because Vince seems a little bit more street smart, so we can pick up on those type of things real quick. So Jay White, that's the producer's name, he came back over and he's trying to record a song with her, trying to do it again. And here she goes. She starts to cook. So she's like, oh, I'm going to cook something. So I think somebody said, well, you know, you have the producers downstairs in the living room. And she was like, oh, they're not thinking about me. They vibing, which is probably too true. They're probably trying to get some tunes together and everything. Maybe go get some snacks. But she made a full meal. I feel like it was like spaghetti, like she actually cooked. It took like 1.5, 2 hours for her to cook a full meal for everybody. So see, we see her again, like going through all of these avoidance tactics of actually just getting down to work. And I'm surprised he even came back, because to me, she's a waste of time and money. For somebody like that, who produced Cardi B and all these big tracks, my time is my money. You know what I mean? And they're actually taking a risk on you, because to me, it's like you're not somebody who is, you know, in the industry who were like, oh, we need to hear from Tamar. We love to hear from her, but like, I mean, I just, you know, that would have annoyed me. I would have never come back to work with her again. So they ask about Vince, and she says, you know, Logan sees Vince daily. He picks him up and drops him off, and she's laughing about that. That's it. He picks him up after school, drops him off, the whole thing. And she explained that David would not be on the show if Vince was on the show. So that's what he said. Like, if Vince is on the show, so this is why Vince is not getting any camera time. We hear he drops off Logan, the whole thing, but he cannot be on camera because David will not be on the show. Now, why is she giving him so much power in this? I do not know. Really, this is her job, right? So why does he even have the power to say, oh, I'm not going to be filming it? So then you don't film. You know what I mean? You're trying to raise money for you and your son and your family. He doesn't get to run this. He doesn't have to be on the show. Like, who is he? The fact that, see, so this is where I feel like she is stepping in crap for a minute, because you shouldn't even have allowed him that much power or say in this whole situation. That's it. So, you know, they have a conversation, and no, what happens was, I think David came in the house and he's upset because he says he doesn't want Vince in his house, even though this is her house. So they asked him about that, and he said, no, that's Tamar's house. He said, no, this is my house, because we spend 4 days at her house, 3 days at my house. So both of those are both of our houses, type of a thing. So he doesn't want Vince in his house, even though it's Tamar's house. And so, you know, they went into the room, they have an argument. This happens in front of Logan. You see David kind of walk out, storm out. You see Logan come out, and then you see Tamar call him back into the room. And so, let's see. You know, I think, and that was right before she started recording the song. Like, she just started acting really silly. You know, everybody's kind of looking at her. You know, she's supposed to be like now getting started, and she actually starts singing about food. And really, she wrote a song. When she says she can't write, she wrote a song. It was funny. It was kind of reminding me of the old Tamar, where it had rhyme, it had cadence, you know what I mean? And even the producer was like, that's great, you know, but then she starts with this whole shy thing. And then she says, can I take 2 minutes to go pray with Logan? And then she goes in there, you know, it's always like taking the breaks and being distracted, doing something else. And so they say, okay. So then, of course, she goes in there and she says, Logan, he probably should have been asleep by now. Everybody in that room has money. Go sell your chocolates to them, and this and that. So it's just like all these things to distract them. And even at one point, Goldie even said, you know, I love Logan, but he's always a distraction. You know, she always has him popping up and kind of distracting her from what she's doing. So then at one point we see her creative director come over, and she's just distracted on her phone. She's being rude. You know, he's talking to her. She's texting and everything like that. You know, yeah, that's when they got into the argument. I'm sorry, my notes are a little bit all over the place. You know, she gets up and leaves. She wills to talk to him. That's when they went into the bedroom, right? And then we see her at one point, just it's all jumbled, but whatever, it all happened in the same episode. We see her at one point in a car with all of her friends, and she's like, let's go do a drive-by by his house. He was so upset last night, the whole thing. And to me, that was so immature. Like, I remember doing that in college. Like, and my friends, I don't know why my friends did that, but we did, like, let's go drive by. And I'm like, okay, why is he not answering? His car is home, the whole thing. She's 40 something. Like, you're too old. You're a mother. Like, if you have to do all this, you really shouldn't be in this relationship. But, again, we see the 5 guys around her all the time. She goes to the gym. Everybody's got to go to the gym with her. None of these guys want to work out or seem like they have ever worked out before, but they have to be with her, like, because she constantly needs somebody with her to get anything done. And that's pretty sad to me. So, they have the conversation. She has a conversation with David. He talks about they've went 24 hours without ever talking. And this is the longest they've ever gone without talking. He talks about Vince walking into his home. It's not like he said he stayed and chilled. And even Tamar was like, he wasn't hanging out. He was dropping off his son. He put Logan to bed, whatever it was. But I noticed that he kind of talks at her. I don't want this. Da, 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 da. And it's almost like this is not the power balance is off. You know what I mean? Like, he's talking at her and she's trying to defend herself. But and we also don't know how much more she's defending herself because of the cameras being there. But it just makes me uncomfortable the way that he's talking at her. She talks about Logan being upset, thinking that David was never going to come back. And, people have to really try not to argue so much in front of their kids, because kids really do have a way of thinking that it's always about them. What did I do to cause this? You know what I mean? And then they have strong imagination. So what they think might happen can be so extreme. So, they have to be really careful about doing that. So, she goes to talk to Goldie again about the dream work, and let's see, she talks this time about, something about David cheating on her with Ellen. And, if you see, somehow Goldie connected Ellen to being a talk show host and her job at The Real in the past, which is pretty cool. But it's also, what she's also seeing is betrayal, feeling betrayed, and also paranoia in these dreams that she's having. But she did notice in both of she talks about the family members, both her family members and David's family members, and thinking that they might be allies in the family. You know what I mean? And so it has something to do with her being disconnected from her family. She should see them as allies and not enemies. But they explained a little bit about her doing, being distracted by Logan, doing everything. Oh, I have to go do this. I have to cook. Da, da, da. Because when you're doing, I thought it was pretty cool. When you're doing a lot of internal work, how did they say it? I forgot it. She's doing the opposite of doing the internal work. She's doing the internal work, but in order to balance it or to avoid it, she has to do an external action. So basically, they talked about they suggested that she go to a break room. And I want to go to a break room, where basically you go to a room and you're just messing up everything there. They might have old stereos, old TVs, a car, whatever, and you're able to bang it, tear it up, break the glass, whatever. It's supposed to be in order to get your anger out. And I think that she took it the wrong way, because the producers and her kind of got into it, because she kind of went off saying, you guys want me to be the angry Black woman? I'm not angry. I don't want to be that stereotype. She took it out on everybody. She was very upset. And, Goldie said, you know what? We actually are doing the work. It's just not on camera. And, there's certain places that she doesn't want to revisit. And so she says, why it may seem like she's not really a part of the process, we are doing the work off camera. And then the producers, they want, one of the producers says, listen, let's have this talk, me and Tamar, with you on camera, because I don't want it to seem that I'm trying to perpetuate the angry Black woman stereotype. You know what I mean? I don't want people out there thinking that. We did this as a way of you to put an action into you doing your internal work, an action, because in order for us to make this TV series be watchable and entertaining, people want to see something. We cannot see your internal work. We want to see it happening externally. So that was why they thought about the break room, but she took it the wrong way. Then they have one of the Black female producers come and talk and say, listen, I'm a Black woman. I would never want to perpetuate that stereotype. This was the way we were going. This is what we wanted to perpetuate. And she took it the wrong way. So they cleared it up, and then what have you. So we'll see if she ends up doing the break room. Probably not. But she said that she would rather put her her energy into an external work such as her creativity, which would be writing, but at the same time she refuses to write and sing, so we'll see how it goes. Either way, let me know what you think, if you agree with me, what have you, in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon again with Reality with T. Bye-bye.